Hello and welcome. Thanks for being here on a Wednesday, kind of random live stream. Appreciate it. Lots of fun stuff to go over today, actually, just like Q&A chit chats, some 3D printing stuff, and then also, after a very long time of figuring it out, launching my official very own Discord server, which I'm super excited about. So there's already a link pinned to the top of the chat if you want to join that. If you don't, that's fine. And if you're not sure, I'll go over all that stuff in just a little bit. So don't feel any pressure whatsoever. But I thought it'd be fun to do a live stream and then actually speak of the devil. Matt from Nashville, Tennessee. He is the one who gave me the idea, like, hey, you should stream and let people know there's a server instead of just like making a post that goes into the ether and kind of disappears. So yeah, and also, why are my comments not lining up the way that I want them to? Come on. Was this amateur hour over here? Heather, my wife, Heather Just Play, she is the one who built the server. And she's actually the one who had the idea for it. We were driving home from her family's house after the holidays in December. And she was suddenly just like, you should do a Discord server, because she has spent the past year and a half, close to 2 years, building her own, which is actually huge, connected to a whole nonprofit towards personal growth through gaming. You can go to heatherjustplay.org if you want to learn more, or join her server, which is big and vibrant and complex. And so taking all the skills she learned over the past bit of time, putting that together, I think my server, which seems complex to me, was a bit easier for her to put together. So yeah. And Gil is here as well. And Ryukin's here. Put this on a tripod. Nice. And then, yeah, so appreciate everyone being here. Couple fun things to go for. I got some cool camera angles. So I do have the Discord server. That was a fun little flash right there that we will cover and talk about in a little bit. That's going to be super cool. I also have a live stream of my 3D printer because I need to get a print going. So I figured, why not do that here? And I can also show you, if you're curious about how any of that works or whatever, I can show you just starting a simple print in Bamboo Studio. And then I also, right before this started, I don't know if you remember, ages ago, I used to have a GoPro in the corner over here that was like a fishbowl camera for live streams. Actually, let me check my audio and make sure there is audio. Oh, good, there is. I just, right before this, I was like, I'd like to do that, but I don't want cables. So I just took my old iPhone 14 Pro, which was just in a drawer, and just used the NDI app and put it on the ultra wide. So there you go. I got this wide shot. I don't know why. Why not, I suppose, is the answer to that. Matt, what the HE double hockey sticks are you doing over here? You are donating your time for shipping costs. You're donating your time to help me with the server. Matt is a moderator on the server, and then also super chatting. Now I'll just make you an admin, because super chat way into admin. I have another super chat question that I'm going to get into, but first, in the sake of time management, I want to get a 3D print going. I want to see how this works on the stream, and then we'll kind of jump into all the other stuff. So I've actually been working over the past couple days to print. This is just part of it, but I've seen a print. I'll show you. It's where did I put that? It is, here's Bamboo Studio. So this is the slicer software. If I go home, there's a low profile mic arm that keeps popping up that I keep seeing. And it's a lot of different parts. So I've been printing each of these squares is like basically a separate print. So you have like nuts and bolts and all kinds of things to make it totally 3D printed, and it looks very similar to an Elgato low profile arm like the one I'm using here. I have pretty much the whole thing printed. All I need to print left are the covers that go on the top to cover up the cables. But I wanted to print those in a different color. So the whole arm, I've been doing it in ABS to make it really strong. So that is actually these parts right here. These are the ones I need to print, the covers. And these ones, I'm actually just going to use, I printed some in ABS, and I didn't like the way they printed, so I'm actually going to stick with just blue PLA. So the arm's going to be black, and this have a blue accent, not unlike this microphone right here. So put this mic on it. It's going to actually look really good. So this is how easy it is. You saw me just open the model and download it into Bamboo Studio, and then I selected the filament that I want to use, the printer I'm using, and we slice it, which is now just putting in all the information for what it's going to do with this printer and this filament. It's going to take 1 hour and 2 minutes, print the plate, and oh, actually, I need to change a build plate. I'll cut to a live stream of the printer, but you probably won't be able to hear me. Yay. Well, that got weird. It's been sitting there for a long time, so maybe it did some weird things. I was using the super grippy build plate for the ABS, which worked, but I don't like the texture on it. So for these parts, since the texture is going to be visible, I wanted to switch to the regular build plate, the PEI build plate. We'll send that over, and that should pretty much be it. And now that's going to start printing, and it's going to calibrate and do a bunch of stuff first. So yeah, that's going to be a thing there. Appreciate the good vibes. The fancy blue plate is really awesome. Like everything sticks to that, and it's blue. It's one of those BIQU, that company. It's pretty cool. What's up, Manny? It's good to see you. Are you using the Rodecaster video or software only now? I have zero consistency in my streaming setup. What is the printer doing? There we go. I am currently using Ecamm Link and the Rodecaster Pro for audio and Ecamm. And sometimes I use the Rodecaster video, sometimes I use the Holobox, and sometimes I use a PC with OBS, and sometimes I use a Mac. And yeah, this feed from the printer is actually running through OBS. Actually, you know what? I bet if I restart that, it will be, it'll probably be smoother because it's just been going for like a really long time. So let me turn off OBS here. We can turn off live streaming on the printer. We'll turn on live streaming on the printer. Boop. It's a little janky, but okay. I have a whole video about how to do this. So if you wonder how I'm bringing the printer's feed in here, either through OBS on a PC or I am bringing it into Ecamm on a Mac, even though it looks a little funky. I have a whole video relatively recent about how to do that. And there we go. And start the virtual camera. So it's actually running into OBS, the printer. And then from there, it's running into Ecamm. Hopefully it's a little bit smoother. Yeah. So anyway, that's the printer. We'll keep checking in on that over time. And yeah, I just answered the streaming question. I'm using a Ecamm Link and Ecamm. Let's go as we jump into questions real quick. I did want to jump in. Luke during the pre-show was nice enough to give a super chat, which I appreciate, and then ask, when a company sends you a product, do they mandate whether you can keep it, return it, gift it, or sell it? This is a great question, and I don't think there's a standard answer for this. I can only give you my answer, which I have, I've talked about it ad nauseum, like the ethics statements on my website. You can go to that and check it out if you want to. Because of the way that is set up, companies can't mandate anything. And it's really nice because I wouldn't want them to. So for me, I literally tell them, if you're comfortable sending this thing into a black hole where you will never see or hear from it again, go ahead and send it to me. And most of the time, honestly, when companies reach out and offer to send stuff, I say no to 90% of it. So it's only if there's something I think is interesting or relevant or kind of makes sense or I'm curious about, that's the stuff I'll be like, okay, yeah, I'll check that out. There's never any guarantee on making a video or saying anything or whatever. There's zero pressure on my part to do anything. That's not always the case. So it's the same company can send things to several different creators and the terms of that can be different for all of them. So I can only tell you from my point of view, I am never under any pressure to say, do anything afterwards, especially like there's only so many, wireless microphone kits a person needs, right? So like a lot of times that's why I say no to stuff. If I'm not interested, I don't just want like another 2.4 gigahertz, like okay sounding wireless microphone setup. It's not that interesting to me. So if there's something that's actually interesting there, then I'll take it. I like to make sure that gear gets used. So if it's something that will fit into my workflow, obviously that's the best. Like it's something that I'm going to continue to use and be excited about and figure out, then that's really cool. Sometimes there's stuff I'm just curious about, but it won't fit into my workflow. So then in that case, I usually do give it away or donate it. And then other times, some things kind of make sense to keep on hand for other comparisons, like certain video switchers and stuff. They may not be like the video switcher I use every time, even though it's a perfectly fine video switcher, but it's nice to have for comparisons. Or if a company, you know, they send you something and you check it out and then you kind of just keep it on hand, and, you know, 6 months from now they do a firmware update that adds some new features or changes something, then you can go back and kind of check that out. So for me, I like to make sure whatever it is, whether I'm the one using it or I give it to someone else who's going to use it or donate it to like a school or something, I like to make sure the stuff always gets used. If a company makes it easy to send things back, I don't mind that. A lot of companies ship from overseas. So if they're like, yeah, send it back to us, and then it's like I'm shipping this heavy box across the planet, it's very expensive. So I'm not going to pay to review your product. So, you know, if they send shipping labels and packing material and stuff, then I'm always happy to send stuff back as well. And a lot of times too, if a company sends stuff and I don't make a video on it, I always offer that to give them feedback. So even if it doesn't show up in a video, I'll tell them what I thought about it, or, you know, or whatever. So I hope that makes sense. If Matt spends all his money on super chats, he can't buy the 3D printer he doesn't have room for. One day. I love that. I'm doing good. What's up, Vettel? Oh, Rukin mounted phone to Benro. I love my Benro tripods. Do you have any 3D build plate recommendations? I've only used the default one that comes with the printer, the bamboo build plate, which I actually really like. I have just found that I was printing with ABS. I'm not super experienced with ABS. And that close up right there. ABS was having a hard time sticking to this build plate, but you can kind of see the texture of it right there. I love the way that texture looks on finished prints. But yeah, the stickiness, the BIQU, that company, however you say that, it's like $20 or something for their like frost build plate, which is the blue one, and everything sticks to that like incredibly well. So that's what I've been using there. What's up, Bailey? Bailey is also a moderator on the Discord, which we're going to talk about actually right now. Yes. So let's talk about the Discord, which I can show you right now. Boom, there's the server. We'll kind of get into that. It's sort of funny because I did have a Discord server years ago that was for like channel members and stuff. And it was before I had experience with Discord. It was before it was just, I didn't understand Discord. I didn't really like it. I'm a person who really loves old school message boards, and Discord just didn't click with me. It was causing discord in my workflow at the time. So I ended up taking that down. And what I actually ended up doing was a couple of years ago, I built a legit PHP BB message board, like the old school ones, which it took so long. It took the better part of a month to build this. I love old school message boards, but building this, as much as I love them and am fond of them, it taught me, oh, this is why people don't do this anymore. It was very hard to build, but it's so simple and wonderful. And it was designed as a place where it's like, you can go and you can literally see everything and then leave. Like you're not going to feel sometimes Discord, if it's a crowded Discord server and you're sort of in those streams of chats, you can feel like if you step away for a day or two and you come back, you missed a whole bunch of stuff. And that's not the case here. So this was up for a couple of years. This was not open to everybody. This was open to channel members and people who had purchased courses that I had for sale at the time. So, and I kind of set it up like a Discord with different permissions, and I was super proud of that. So there was like sections where everybody could go to. If you were in one of the courses, you could also go to that. If you're a channel member, you go to those. And you can kind of see, like, I don't know what this is. It says 1,300 people were online on December 21st. So that is clearly like a DDoS attack or something. Because there's 107 members of the server, and you can see it's fun. I appreciate everybody, doing things there, but you can kind of see it, not a beehive of activity really. And it was also very analog. So anytime somebody signed up for this, I had to actually go in and give them individual permissions. Like, you get this member title, you get permission to these things. was no way to really automate it. And so it was like a time crunch because everybody in here had also paid something, channel membership, to join a course, whatever. I had like this feeling of, it was almost like customer service too, where it's like, oh my God, I have to keep up. Someone registered and they had to wait 12 hours before I like gave them permissions. Oh my gosh. Like it just kind of, it didn't work. And then I mentioned my wife, Heather, she had started her own whole, like channel, nonprofit, huge Discord server. I mean, it wasn't intended originally to be a huge, it developed into a very good Discord server. And through that, I don't have any like moderator admin role in her server at all. I'm just a member. So I got to like see Discord and having fun with friends and seeing the way the different features work and doing voice chats and streams and events. And it's like, wow, this is really easy. And of course, a benefit with my message board, it's a separate URL. It's a separate account. You have to log in. You have to, there's a lot of friction to someone just showing up and hanging out and sharing something. Whereas then with Discord, it's like so much easier now that I understand it. And if you're in, as if you're part of one Discord server, like I can show you, mine here. If you're not familiar with Discord, this is kind of how it works. On the side over here, these are all different servers that I'm a part of. And so adding one, it just, boop, you just add another one to your list and you can hop between them super easily. So it's like, it's really, really easily. Gil was like, I helped keep that message board alive. I loved it too. It was so fun. But it was kind of a realization of like, yeah, I guess that's why, unless you're like Mac Rumors or something where you have like a message board just built in years of users, it's very hard to get an old school style message board up and running in a frictionless way now. So yeah. Rob, what's up? I saw you restarting Disney blog. That's super exciting. I missed the beginning. Where's your colorful shirt? I didn't want to, I don't know. I was wearing this yesterday and it looks nice. So I decided to wear it today. So let's officially open the Discord and then answer some questions and stuff, which does not have to be Discord related. It's just, we'll do all the things. If you want to join the Discord, there's a link pinned to the top of the chat. You can also just go to himynameistom.com/Discord and it'll take you right there. Thank you to internetdoggo/Zeke for giving me the idea to just make a simple URL instead of the weird Discord URLs. The URL shouldn't expire. So when you click that, it'll open up your Discord and it'll take you here. If you've joined servers before, you'll see that. If you've never joined a server, it should take you to this page, which is rules and guidelines. I'm not going to make this so much like the first day of school going over the syllabus, but when I was teaching, I did first day of school every year. I would go through like expectations and stuff. And it's like half the things I would tell the students, I don't expect us to need to deal with this, but like, let's all be on the same page. I'll put this out there in this stream. So it's here. We can all be on the same page and then, we can go from there. Just because I've been super fortunate. Anytime I've interacted with people from my channel, like, there's always some goofballs who show up in the comment section from time to time and, just delete them or whatever, banish them to the shadow realm. But things that have been in like the message board and channel member stuff, and even in real life events and conferences, conventions, when I've had the chance to interact with people, everybody's been awesome, like really awesome, which is why I kind of want to make a server to like continue being able to hang out with people. But it's the internet, right? Sometimes there are weird people on the internet, believe it or not. And just want to make sure that we can handle that if weird things happen. So when you go to the server, you're not going to really be able to see any of this stuff on the side until you go through these rules and guidelines and then click the check mark to react to it. At that point, it'll give you permissions to see everything. Thank you, Heather, for helping figure that out. So just a couple rules and guidelines here. Obviously, like be respectful is very important. Keep things, PG, light PG-13, I guess, is kind of the way to go. No hate speech, violence, harassment, very standard internet rules. Obviously, deliberate attempts to disrupt the community, make others feel unsafe, you're gone. You're out of here. No spam. There are times where linking to something you made, there's even places in the server to do that, because a lot of people make stuff and are interested in stuff and make really cool stuff. And I want you to be able to share that. But there's a difference between like, look at this thing I made, or, what do you think about this, or check this out, versus like just spamming my links everywhere. Keep content appropriate. So this is intended to be an 18 and up forum, which sounds weird on the internet, but it's just like, I don't want to deal with like underage people and adults. Yeah. Discord does have a way to make servers officially 18 and up, but then you lose all this access to like mobile apps and iOS and stuff. It makes it super inconvenient. So just know it's intended for people 18 and up, which does not mean there's a weird connotation when you say that. It does not mean things you sometimes think of when you think of 18 and up. It just means like, let's not have like kids hanging out with adults, because no. Do not discuss or engage in illegal activities, respect privacy, all that, follow moderators' rules and instructions. The current moderators Bailey, Zeke, and Matt have a lot of experience with moderating on Discord, moderating on YouTube. And they've been at parts of my channel for years and years at this point. Most of the time the channel has existed. So they kind of know like the vibe and the goal and that kind of thing. So obviously if something goes wrong, people would say, the moderator might just say like, hey, FYI, try not to do this or whatever. If you're doing something weird, just boot you. That's kind of the other benefit of, having been a high school teacher, I sort of learned the lack of tolerance for like, sometimes you just got to boot someone. Sometimes people just earn an F, So yeah, I've literally not had to deal with those issues on any of like the community things I've done in the past for YouTube courses, whatever, but just things to be aware of. So once you go through those, you agree to that. Oh, this is also an important one actually, because this was an area of issue with previous things. This thing down here, it says no guaranteed tech support. I do want to be clear that tech questions, hey, I'm having this problem, my Rodecaster's doing a thing, my printer's being weird, that's totally cool, totally welcome. Just remember that this is not a support channel, meaning the thing that I can't promise is when you post like, hey, Tom, my Rodecaster's doing this, what do I do to fix it? Like, I probably won't answer that question, because let's go back to what the whole point of the server is, right? Like, why do I even want to start a Discord server? And a big reason is because when I've been able to meet people who are interested in my channel, recognizing that my channel is a small part of somebody's life, right? It's a thing that they watch and engage with sometimes, and they have a whole other spectrum of life. Whether it's been conventions or events or online or whatever, it's like everybody I meet is really cool. And not just that, and I'm not just saying that to like hype you up, but everybody like does stuff. The reason my channel fits into their life is sort of it plays a role in helping them figure out a thing they want to do, like whether that's stream, make videos, do podcasts, get into printing, whatever. It's like everybody's proactive and interesting, and anytime that like, I've been at like NAB or, some of the events we've done out at B&H in New York, it's like we've kind of run out the clock talking to people just because it's so fun to talk to people and everybody's so interesting. And it's like, hey, it'd be cool to be able to have these types of conversations and interactions all the time, not just at these events. Discord server would be fantastic for that. So that's kind of the vibe there, is like, selfishly, it's a place I want to hang out. Like it is, I want to make the place that I want to be. Hopefully other people want to be there too. Part of that's a big reason why it's totally free and open to everyone. It's not a members only thing. It's not a whatever. It's just public and free, is because I don't want, in the past, this is sometimes just internal pressure. No one has ever made me externally feel this way, but I feel like, someone paid money for access to be here. Now I need to be ultra available. So if they ask a question, I need to answer it. And then that means like in the past, like the old Discord server that I had years ago, it fell into the category of like my business email, where it's like, okay, I got to go in and deal with all this like business admin stuff. Okay, let's check it out, the tech support thing. That's not really that fun. And so you find yourself kind of avoiding it. Whereas like with my wife's server, like I just browse it throughout the day because it's fun and I want to chat with people and hang out with people and like stream a game or whatever. And it's like, oh, like let's make that for my thing. That's kind of the vibe there. So that doesn't mean like I would never answer a tech support question in the server. if I'm hanging out on the server and someone asks a question, I can answer it. Like, why not answer it? It just means like that's not what it's for. It's not the place to get tech support from me. If people want to help each other out with tech support, that is awesome. Like I did that the other day. I was like, hey, I updated this camera with a firmware update. It's acting weird now. Anyone know why? Like if you want to do that kind of thing, that's cool. Just don't expect. It's not a place. It's not Tom's tech support, I guess. Somebody's calling me. The bank is calling me. That feels important. Well, to voicemail. Okay. So there we go here. So anyway, that's kind of the impetus for starting the Discord. Yeah, so once you do that, there's a few channels that pop up. There's the standard front door. Discord usually has this where when people join, you can see who's joining. You can wave at them to say hi. Obviously, since we just literally cut the ribbon and opened the Discord, there's probably going to be a lot of people, so apologies if I don't wave at everybody. There is an introduce yourself option, which is 1000% optional. You do not have to do that, but it's always nice to get to know the person behind the screen name, the person behind the avatar. So if you want to introduce yourself, you know, you don't have to. You don't have to share your real name, your real photo, anything like that, but it's really fun to get to know people. So you can do that if you want at any time. You don't have to do that right away. There's a channel for announcements. It's empty. That's just where if I have something I need to share with everybody, that's where that'll go. And then a channel that I haven't uploaded anything. This stream might go in there when it saves. I haven't uploaded anything since I did this, but anytime like a new video comes out, so like tomorrow morning, boop, it should pop up here. Then we've got a few different like categories and channels that kind of encompass everything. This is totally something that will evolve over time, but you know, this kind of, I sort of like laid out what I wanted, and then Heather was like, here's a way to make that good, and then she made it happen. And so that's that. So there's sort of like a tech category. This is where we can talk about cameras, we can talk about mics and audio, streaming, podcasting, computers, you know, those kinds of things. 3D printing, you know, that's something that I've rediscovered the joy of lately. So if you want to talk about printers, if you want to talk about prints and designs, sharing your setup, I love looking at people's 3D printing setup. It's kind of like looking at people's streaming setup. So if you want to share that, go for it. General chat, just kind of off topic stuff. Hockey. I know there's like lots of other sports out there. For the most part, I don't care about other sports. So I would talk about hockey. So hockey's there. Although, you know, curling maybe could be in there. Video games, music, movies, TVs, books, pets, share your stuff. So this is a nice spot to share things that you want. Of course, it's not a place to spam mindlessly. It's a chance to connect with others. That's kind of the point. And we've got some voice channels, and yeah, that's basically it. So, you know, pretty standard Discord stuff. And I see people joining, which is making me so happy. But it should be a chill, fun place to hang out and spend some time and kind of connect and get to know everyone, you know, outside of the YouTube comment section, which is cool, but it's it feels like a very one-way street, and it's very like, it's harder for people to talk to each other. You chances are, if you're watching this, if you're joining the server, you understand what Discord servers do and what they're for, so that's what they're for. So anyway, there it is. The Discord server is open. Do I have my air horn sound? I don't even remember. It's been so long since I did that. Wait, oh, my faders are mapped weird. I don't know if you heard an air horn or not. There we go. Kim, Bucha, what's up? It's nice to see you here. So, here we go. If you want to jump in and do Q&As, feel free to do that. You don't necessarily need to put a Q before your A, or wait, before I A the Q. Q colon sometimes can help, but lately I've stopped doing that. Basically, I'm using Ecamm to do the stream, and Ecamm lets you search through comments. So if people put Q colon and there's a whole bunch of chat happening, I can just search up all the questions and go through them like really organized. But a thing that I have found, I don't have 1,000 people watching my streams and chat going crazy. It's usually fairly manageable. And what I found is when I only go through the questions, then I miss the chat and the other non-question comments that are kind of interesting. So I've sort of like not pushed doing the Q colon thing anymore. If you just want to post something in the chat, if it's a question about whatever, feel free to do that. And we'll dive in. So let's talk about some stuff. Actually, let's check on the print first and make sure it's not like exploded. Hey, look at that. There we go. We've got the covers, the top covers going for the mic arm, and they look like they're going pretty good. It's very cool. The Bamboo printers, some of them, like the P2S that I have, just have built-in cameras. and it's awesome. And they have built-in streaming capabilities, so it's cool. Since the printer's on Wi-Fi, it can send its signal to OBS. It has to go into OBS, and I'm using Ecamm, so then I'm actually using OBS's virtual cam in Ecamm. Have a whole video about that on the channel. All right, Thomas Taylor, great name. What do you recommend for screen recording software for YouTube? I just use QuickTime because it's easy. It's on the Mac, it's just QuickTime. I don't know if you're on a PC. I'm not sure. PC, I think I just usually use like OBS. I haven't really found a great option there yet. QuickTime works great on a Mac. It's super simple. There are, in the past, I have played around with an app. It's a paid app called ScreenFlow. And it's cool because you can go back to your recording, and that's where you can like do little like zoom in animations, and you know, like you click on a menu and like boop, and then it pops out and does all this fun stuff. But it's also a little clunky, so I kind of just like QuickTime. Probably better. Yay, server's working. Appreciate that. Oh, there we go. It's true. It is in the name. You have to be an awesome person and a super awesome server. I'm not good at coming up with names for things because, yeah, there we go. And you obviously you can use whatever name you want. It can be your real name. It can be a screen name. It can be your YouTube name, not YouTube name. Don't worry. But it is. We got another Tom. This is just a pile of Toms over here. It's awesome. Nerd affiliated. What is up? Speaking of super cool people who've been around for ages and ages and ages. What's up? Erica To Me Gaming or Erica Tome Gaming. I don't know. Recently started following on YouTube. Love the videos. Really inspired me. Hey, I'm so happy to hear that. Appreciate it. When are you buying another printer? I don't have any plans, although I'm curious. Maybe you can help me. You all can help me navigate this. Bamboo did reach out a while ago, and they were super nice, and they were like, hey, we're glad you love the P2S. It was after I made a video where I explained that like when you do a lot of multicolored prints and the colors are, if you do a multicolored print, I don't have an example, but say it like this is black and then the top is blue, or like this microphone. It would print all black, it would change the color, bloop, and then it would print blue. That produces very little waste. If this was like a thing, the thing I printed was actually a 10-sided die for Heather. And so it was a blue die, and then the numbers were white. So every layer had blue and white on it. So it not only took 10 hours to print that small little die, but it also produced a ton of waste because every layer had like 2 filament changes. And every time it changes filament, it poops out a little like ball of filament. And so it created a ton of waste. I believe it's the is it the H2C? I can't remember all the Bamboo product names, but like their flagship printer with like the 5 nozzles, which is crazy because what that means is that basically different filaments are just loaded into separate nozzles, and every time it needs to change, it physically like it automatically puts in a new nozzle, does that filament, switches to the other one, does that filament. So say you're printing with 5 colors, no matter how complex the print is, it will only produce 5 little tiny pieces of poo. And so it's so anyway, they reached out and they were like, hey, we saw this. We're glad you love the printer. We want to send you our flagship printer. I think it's the H2C. It's kind of a baller printer. If you want to, and you know, same thing. They're like, no obligation, no strings attached. Just, you know, if you want to like see how it works compared to this one. And I was like, that is super tempting, but no, thank you for right now. Because when I got into 3D printing back in 2016, I did the thing where I bought my first 3D printer, and within 2 months, I think I had 5 3D printers. I bought like as a Monoprice Mini, I bought a second Monoprice, then I bought a bigger Monoprice, then I got a Prusa, and then I got the Monoprice Delta printer they had a while ago. And it was like, it kind of seemed fun, but then it's like super overwhelming, and most of my job was just taking care of all these different printers. And it's like, I didn't want that. So I donated everything. Basically, I donated everything except my Prusa Mini, which at a video I did last weekend, I compared that to the new one. And that printer's great. It's pretty simple. It works well. Mine started having kind of a faulty power supply. So that's why I was like, crap. It's not just the reliability. There's kind of a safety thing there too. And it's like, yeah, this printer's 7 years old. Maybe it's time to look into a new one. I knew I wanted to get a Bamboo if the time came for me ever to get a new printer. And so I just jumped into the P2S and loved that. Paid full price for it. It wasn't even on a Black Friday sale because it's a new printer. Everything, bought all the filament, did all the things. And I kind of, so not only do I not want to like build a print farm for myself because that's just not what I'm going for. Like I really like my printer. It works really well for me. even if multicolor prints aren't always super efficient, the fact that it can even do them is amazing because I've never had that option before. And so when they offered to, what I like about my 3D printing videos and what I've shared with 3D printing is it really, like, literally I started making those videos for my second channel. And then it was just like, yeah, my main channel is kind of just in a slump. And I was like, it's not going to break it any worse. So just put these videos over here. And then they, like, people watched them and they kind of did well. And I was like, oh, this is fun. And it's been fun because it's like, I'm not a 3D printing expert. I don't want to become one. I don't want to claim one. Like, when I figure out how to do stuff like this, like live stream with the printer, and it's really cool, and I haven't seen anyone explain how to do that super clearly, I'll make a tutorial on how to do that, but otherwise it's kind of just like, this is what I'm doing. This is what I'm interested in. Like, it's pretty casual. And I like the idea that, like, you're just watching a guy who bought the printer talk about the printer, there's always something. Even you can have a very well-established ethics statement like I do, but there's always something that's going to be in some people's mind when something is sent for free and you get that thing for free. People are always going to feel a way about it. And it's like, I kind of like protecting the 3D printing content for the time being without any of that. But I'm, like, also hella curious about the H2C and all this other stuff. So what I told him was, like, that's exactly, like, I really appreciate it, but I'm just not really interested in that kind of thing right now. And I was like, maybe down the line in a few months, I'll have a project where it'd be really cool, or I'll have a question where I'm super curious about it and I'll reach out. So I've thought, like, maybe down the line, seeing if they still, like, want to let me test out that printer. Because the other benefit is, in being in that position, having access to something like that for no cost also means I can kind of be the tester for other people. So, like, if I'm wondering, you also might be wondering, and then it's like I can be your proxy, like, comparer tester. I don't know if that makes sense. So anyway, if I get another 3D printer, that's probably what it would be, because it fits my budget at $0. But I don't know when or if that would even happen. So yeah. Have you heard about the mass exit of Discord due to a privacy nightmare? I just don't have the energy to be outraged about another thing. So no, I've heard little bits about it, and I'll be honest, I don't care. Like, I don't care. Last year, I got to the point where, like, the company that I used to make stickers for my hockey teams, turns out the guy who ran that company was super terrible and did a whole bunch of things. And I was like, it's really hard when I'm trying to just get quality vinyl stickers for my adult league hockey team that I have to care about the ethics and the politics of this weird CEO behind the sticker company who also wants to make hot sauce or something. Like, and then that times everything. I don't know. There's a bajillion people on Discord. Privacy is an issue. I also just don't care. I don't have the energy to care. I'm 40. I don't care anymore about half this stuff. Like, I just want to hang out with people on Discord. Discord makes it easy. That might not be the best answer to that question. That is my very real life answer to that question. What's up, Ono Coffee? Actually, you might be happy to know, speaking of turning 40, it was only 3-4 months ago that I actually kind of got interested and started drinking coffee for the first time in my life. So there you go. Here you go. Maybe here's some clarity. Mandatory ID verification is only if you're in service marked as NSFW 18+, so it doesn't affect most people. Yeah. And Heather and I, we looked at like, having been a high school teacher for 10 years, I very much was like, hey, I don't want kids mixing with adults. So we looked at doing the 18+ thing officially, but it does put on a ton of, I wasn't even going into the privacy things. It was just, which is funny because you're protecting the privacy of kids, I guess, by then invading the privacy of adults. But it was just the usability part of it. It really took that out. So it's like, if you're in my server and turns out you're 14, I'll probably boot you. Come back in 4 years. Like, I don't know. There we go. Oh, there we go. Curling in the server. We'll start the curling channel right away. I've been on the internet for a while. I've made things on the internet for a while. I've sometimes ships sink, and a lot of times, yeah, storms tend to be weathered. Can I talk about vintage stuff in your server? Yeah, for sure. What category should that go into? That's a great question. I mean, use your best judgment. Like, I'm not gonna banish you to the shadow realm if you post something in the wrong. If it's a camera, post it in the cameras thing. You know, if suddenly like a bunch of people want to post like retro gear, like old cameras and stuff, or old audio gear, like we can make a retro tech channel. I would love that. For now, just put it wherever you want. A thing that has happened in the past for me, and something that put me off of Discord for a long time, was I've joined servers that have the longest list of channels in the world on the side. And it's like so specific. It's like, you know, camera related questions for models produced in 2020 to 2023, questions asked on Wednesday mornings of odd numbered years that aren't leap years. And it's like, man, I don't know where to put my question. And then like literally the servers, like most of the activity in the server is just people posting things and then moderators telling them to post it somewhere else. And it's like, that's not interesting or fun. So post the thing where you think it should belong. If like it's egregiously out of place or makes no sense, it'll get moved or someone will tell you, but for the most part, it's fine. And we also, again, I'm excited we have, you know, people joining, but we're not going to have 40,000 people in the server. Like, it's going to be pretty manageable, I think, realistically. Yeah, so there's that. How's our print doing? Still going. Every time I check this, I know the printer does a good job at like stopping if something goes wrong, but I still have the thing of like turning on the camera and worrying that I'm just going to see like a flaming dumpster. Thankfully, I haven't done that. But Nerd Affiliated doesn't like doing multicolor stuff for that same reason. Use the AMS to back up roles, limit having to switch roles. Yeah, I try to keep my multicolor pretty simple. Like the AMS is just convenient. Even if you're not using 4 colors, it's the thing that you can store multiple filament rolls and the printer can just pull from all of them, if you don't know what I'm talking about there. But yeah, it's like you just have 4 things. So it's now I don't have to reload an individual roll every time I start a print. I can do this print in black. The next print can be blue. And then layer painting. If you haven't played with layer painting, it's really fun. Convinced you to go for the Rodecaster Duo. That's what I'm using right now for my audio. It's awesome. And Rode, I got to say, I owe Rode some kudos here because they've been doing cool stuff lately. And I let them know this because I told them this. They announced at CES, they announced the Rodecaster Video Core, which is basically just a capture. It's a way to add video capabilities to the Rodecaster Pro audio only version. So it's like got all the inputs of the Rodecaster video, but no physical controls. But you connect it to your Rodecaster Pro, and now your smart pads become the physical controls for the Rodecaster video. And I was like, I love that because what you've done is you've added new functionality to an existing product. And there's a lot of people who already have Rodecasters. You get the Rodecaster video, there's some feature overlap, and you feel like you're not utilizing everything to the best of its ability, so it's a little funky. And I thought that was really cool. And then they also are just putting out an update for the Rode Wireless Pro and the Wireless Me, some of their other, I forget exactly all the models, but some of their wireless mic models, now you can pair them directly to your phone, pair the transmitter to your phone without a receiver. Super cool. You do need to use the Rode Capture app. It won't just go to like the Bluetooth on your phone, but that's really cool. Like, you know, if you ever want to use wireless mics with phones, luckily like the small systems, I was going to go grab one, but the receivers can be pretty small. The Rode receiver, well, the Rode Wireless Micro receiver is small, but the Rode Wireless Pro, it is dangly or whatever. It's nice to use those higher quality transmitters with your phone with no receiver. So I made sure to let them know that I really appreciated that they're offering a lot of functionality to older gear. And so here's what's crazy is the Rodecaster, well, the Duo's newer. The Rodecaster Pro 2 is now almost 4 years old. And the Rodecaster Pro 1, which is on my little table right here, came out in 2019. I think that was about 3 years old by the time it got replaced. So anyway, the Rodecaster Pro 2, which is basically the same generation as the Rodecaster Duo, is now kind of significantly older than the Rodecaster Pro, the original one, was when it was replaced. I have no info about upcoming updates to that, but the thing with the original Rodecaster is that it was literally designed to be a podcast recorder. And then it got morphed into this thing used for streaming and video production and video podcasting. And they did so many, like the product it was at its last firmware update is so different from the product it was at its first firmware update. They changed it so much. It was insane. But because it was only originally designed to just be kind of a simple multi-track audio recorder, it was very limited in terms of like processing power and all that stuff. And so what Rode did when they released the Rodecaster Pro 2, I remember they told me, like, I could be wrong on the number. I think they said it was 16 times as powerful, like in terms of processing power. They built in like more than they thought they would need because they learned we don't really know where it's going to go. Like users kind of dictate where these things go, and we don't know what's going to happen in a couple of years. At the time, they said they wanted to make sure they had at least 24 months of solid firmware updates. And that was 48 months ago. And they're still putting out firmware updates for that thing. So clearly the power was the way to go. Like they put in a lot of power to it. And it's just been, both of it, the Pro 2 and the Duo, have just been such good, solid devices. And I just love that they're like, an audio mixer is not something people are going to upgrade every year anyway. So it's like, what are you really going to add that's going to make me upgrade once I bought it? It makes a lot more sense to make the thing that exists more desirable. And they've done a great job of doing that. David Murphy says, any idea what's up? Oh, yeah. Okay. Perfect timing for this question, because any idea what's up with Rode's pricing on the Rodecaster Video S? It's now listed at $799, jumped to $499. I gave Rode a compliment. Now I'm gonna throw a bit of shade. This is silly and stupid. The Rodecaster Video S. So the Rodecaster Video, Rode's 4 HDMI plus 2 XLR plus a bunch of other stuff, full-on production suite thing that came out in September of 2024, is $1,200. And it's essentially a Rodecaster Duo in a video switcher body with all this cool capabilities. In the world of video switchers, especially with the insane level of high quality audio that thing has, $1,200 is a fair price. It's definitely not overpriced, although it's always nice when things are cheaper. Last year, they came out with the Rodecaster Video S, which was a slightly streamlined version. Very much how there's the Rodecaster Pro and the Rodecaster Duo. There's the Rodecaster Video and the Rodecaster Video S. It's like kind of the same thing, but just in a smaller, fewer inputs, fewer buttons, smaller package. And that was $499. It was like insane what a good price that is. And so it kind of blew my mind. And it's like, even if you feel that the product has shortcomings, there's zero room to complain about anything at that price. Now, as of apparently the last week, it's now $800. $800 is not $500. That's like a huge increase. And I don't know why. And that's a bummer, is what I know. It's great for the people who got it while it was $499. The thing, though, that I'm a little like about is the Rodecaster Video Core that I just mentioned a few moments ago. They didn't have pricing for that at CES, and they said that it's going to be cheaper than the Rodecaster Video S, which makes sense because it has no physical controls, so it's more limited. And it requires another Rode product to work. So, but to me, that was amazing because it's like, okay, well, if the Video S is $500 and now the Video Core is going to be $350 or something, like that's insane. That's such a good, like, why would you, if you're okay with the 1080 workflow, why would you get any other capture card between that and the other Rodecasters? Now, what I'm kind of worried about is, did you bump up the price of the Rodecaster Video S so that the Rodecaster Video Core can be $499? So it's cheaper than the Rodecaster Video S because the Rodecaster Video S is more expensive. I hope that's, I don't know. I also know, I don't know, prices for computing components are through the roof right now and things might be happening. So I don't know, but yeah, I know nothing about it other than that it's a bum. Bamboo's dying to offload an H2C. You can afford the dividers. Yeah, I know. I was like, trust me, I was like, I don't want to say yes to this right now, but I feel very crazy saying no to this. 3D printing with a hot glue gun felt what for me for some reason. Oh, like the 3D printing guns. I've never used one, but I've seen people do really cool thing. It is definitely a huge rabbit hole. And that's why, like, it kind of got to the point for me where I was so overwhelmed with it that's why I just I got rid of all my printers. I kept the Prusa because like literally like it served a utilitarian purpose. There are things that I just need to 3D print sometimes, or it just makes sense. Like it was like the washing machine, you know, like I need this, it's helpful. The bamboo, getting that, I mean, I cover this in all the videos I've made about it. It like, I was like, oh my God, this is why I loved 3D printing. And like, it just rediscovered the fun of it, and like trying to come up with my own designs, trying to print different things. Like, even yesterday, I was literally installing a sink in our laundry room has a kind of like a tub, like a real, like, I don't know, a sink, but it's a deep sink in there. And I was changing the faucet, and you had to reach up in this weird thing to tighten a screw. And basically we got a new faucet. This is here behind the scenes info. We got a new faucet in our kitchen. And so I took the old kitchen faucet, wanted to put it in the laundry room. And so you have to tighten the screw, and the instructions say like, use the really long, very specific tightening tool to do that, because you can't reach your hands up there. And I was like, well, I threw that away like 6 years ago, so I don't have that. And then I was like, wait a minute, went to Maker World. Of course, someone else already designed it and printed it. So I printed it and then worked like a charm. I was like, this is awesome. It cost me like $1.25 a filament and 2 hours of printing, and I had the thing I wanted. It was amazing. And I print. I'm probably saying that wrong. Can I ask a question? I bought a 3D printer. If I change the wire, I'm guessing you mean the filament. Do I need to preheat the wire or the needle, what kind of wire? I'm guessing when you say wire, you're talking about filament. Like the color, the plastic you're printing with. It depends on your printer. Every printer is different, but the general process is pretty much the same through them all, which is the way that it works is so simple. You have a nozzle that is hot. So it's the same thing. Like if you've ever squeezed icing through a tube or Play-Doh through a little Play-Doh thingy, that's all you're doing with 3D printing. But plastic is a hard substance. So in order to make that work, you have to heat up the plastic so that it melts, and then it can be like squirted through the thing, and then it hardens up again. So the way you do that is you have a nozzle, and the nozzle heats up really hot, and then that melts the plastic as it goes through. So when you're preheating your printer, that's what you're doing. You're preheating the nozzle, and then the plastic gets pushed through. The plastic melts as it touches that hot metal, and then it comes out and prints. We can even see that on my printer here, my Bamboo P2S. That's the Discord. There we go. So it's printing, and that's the part that's touching the print right now, which we can't see like super close up, but that part is super hot, hundreds of degrees Fahrenheit and Celsius. Don't touch it with your hands. And it's just pushing plastic through. The plastic gets laid down. As soon as the plastic cools, it hardens again. The print surface that it's on, the bed, is also heated, and that is heated so that way the plastic sticks to it better. Because otherwise, if this were cold, the printer would just kind of be dragging the print around, and it would mess up and stuff. So you're usually heating your build plate, your bed, and then you're heating your nozzle. The filament itself doesn't need to be heated because it just happens automatically through the process. Every printer is a little different, but that's basically what it works. You're also in a sticker dilemma. Yes, that's what I've also been thinking, like, hey, those Cricut machines, those are cool. 3D printing is like, it ranges from ultra budget to ultra expensive. So you can get very decent and capable 3D printers for under $200, which is not bad. And of course, you could spend thousands of dollars on printers with multiple nozzles and lasers and all the fancy things. And smaller printers are cheaper, bigger printers are more expensive. An enclosed printer usually is more expensive than an open printer, that kind of thing. So it ranges a lot. And then obviously, like, there's not a ton of accessories you need, but it is a rabbit hole of like getting all kinds of tools, you're not just going to get one roll of filament, you're going to get every color and all these different materials. So it very quickly becomes an addiction and expensive. Earlier you said QuickTime was okay to use for YouTube Live. My follow-up question is, will I get the clarity of 1080 with the mirrorless camera? Looking for a cheap way. Clarity of 1080 with a mirrorless camera. I might be misunderstanding. So most mirrorless cameras today are 4K capable. So yeah, it's going to look great. The camera I'm actually using right now is my EOS R, because that's the one that's at my desk. So it's actually 1080, which is why it's just the camera's at my desk. I don't want to change it. So today's stream is in 1080. So it will at least look this good. Chances are you'll probably get a 4K camera in today's world, and then you'll even look better. But I think you might also be asking if the screen recording is going to match the image quality. With QuickTime, I have found that I think it just records in the resolution of your display. So if you're recording a high resolution display or you have it set to high res, then you're going to get a high res file. So like when I record my MacBook screen, it's a, 4K, I don't know, it's a 5K display. I can match that with 4K cameras, no problem. I can crop in even on the recordings and they look awesome. So it depends on your display. If you're recording a really low res small display, then the QuickTime file you get is also going to be low res. I don't know if there's a way to change that. Maybe somebody else does. Matt says, oh yeah, Matt is like me in terms of like, you don't just get interested in something, you get kind of obsessed with it and you go all the way. The Titanic must have been fun before singing. Yeah, it was. I know what you're saying. I'm not trying to dismiss legit concerns people have over Discord. It's just like, look, I've tried to build communities other places. There ain't any right now. There just ain't any. Analyst Academy. Do you have any tips for lighting a full room? 800 square feet. That's a nice size room. Trying to get multiple shots. I can kind of share what I do, which I have like studio tour and lighting tour videos and stuff. And I'm happy to, do that. So what I did a couple years ago in here was basically try to clear out the space. So I have a desk over there that's on wheels that I can pull in. That's my usual desk. All these carts are on wheels. This cart I never really move because it has stuff that's plugged into it. It has like power, so it kind of stays there. But everything else is on wheels except for this desk and can move around. So I did that just to have versatility. And this room is 12 feet by 12 feet. So that's 144 square feet. So way smaller than the 800 square feet. I'm super jealous of what you're working with there. But what I've done in here is when I set up different things, sometimes I have to move and adjust lighting, but for the most part, I tried to make it so that at least my main lighting, I don't really have to adjust. So actually you can see my main light, it's the same light I've had for like, at least 6 years at this point. It's the Nanlite Forza 200. So it's a 200 watt LED light that has a small light dome on it. And that is just shooting up into the ceiling and kind of reflecting down. So that way everything kind of has like a soft, even light. It's only at 50% brightness, so it could get significantly brighter. And that's my main light. If I turn it off, you'll kind of see like how dark it makes everything. Pretty dark. I have a light that it's actually right behind the phone here. There's another small 60 watt LED light that is in a globe, like a globe diffuser. So this is kind of when I'm not like streaming or doing anything. This is sort of what the lighting in here is like. Because I also have like these market lights up here to chill millennial vibes. And so that light, that's kind of like a nice fill light. And then I've got my key light. And then I've got these other things like, this light up here is another 60 watt light, the one that's above my head. And this is my backlight because normally I'm doing something in this general region. And so that's kind of a backlight there. And then I've got, you can kind of see here, actually I have a tube light on the wall here, which looks nice. But when I'm on this angle here, oh no, I didn't want to change that actually. I want to go back to phone. I want to change my scene, not my source, yo. When I go back here, that's actually that tube light is acting as my fill light. I've got these lights down here. These are just filling in the room, so they're not super dark. I've even got a light kind of down. I just laid a tube light down here to sort of give a little bit of like edge lighting here. But in general, because I have that big light, those two big lights pointed at the ceiling, I can be pretty much anywhere in this room and it kind of looks like this. And I might need to move a little small light to fill things in or to change things stylistically. So what I would recommend is get a couple of big video lights. In a space like that, 200, 300 watts probably makes sense. Put diffusers, softboxes on them. Maybe globes or lanterns. Sorry, not globes. Lanterns, I think a more technical term. Sorry, I was like, what is this? I think this is a thing that's on the wall. Get something like that to sort of light up the space and just space them throughout. I don't know if you're able to mount them to the ceiling and that way you don't have to have light stands on the floor. That's always really nice. That's what I did in like the old classroom studios that I had. Was try to mount as much stuff as I could on the ceiling. It just really frees up a lot of space. And, a combination of using diffusion to diffuse the light, or depending on your space, bouncing it like I'm doing here helps a lot. So that's kind of my thing. I also am someone who likes high key lighting. So it's low key. I like high key lighting, which just means bright lighting. So a lot of times, especially on YouTube, you see people they have a lot of like kind of more moody looks, which looks cool. I just like really bright stuff. So I usually use brighter lighting than average. Sometimes I overexpose on purpose and stuff like that. Wow, you have 4 AMSs? I didn't know that. Just out of sheer laziness. I mean, I get it. I get it. I've got 2 AMSs, so that's 8 things there. The Rode Video Core should be at NAB. Yeah, they did say they're going to send me one to review. They asked if I want to check it out, and I said yes, because I want to see how it interacts with the Rodecaster Pros. That's the whole point of it. But I'm curious about the price now. Yeah. Most prints take a few hours. They won't need to be overnight, and printers don't use much power after they heat up. Yeah, that initial heat pull probably takes a lot of power, but then once it's there, it's just sort of maintaining it. What's up, Ron? I haven't seen you in forever. Starting a new Discord server. I think you were in the original one back in like 19. I don't know when that was. Yeah, love to see you in there. Sup, boss. Yeah, see, this is what I'm saying. I'm not sure what they could add to the Rodecaster Pro 3. The 2 is already a response. I haven't seen a lot of complaints about the 2. The complaints about the 2 have been they've been related to like bugs and firmware stuff, which just happens when you make a complex device. But in terms of like if you remember with the original Rodecaster where they, a lot of people, when the Rodecaster Pro 2 came out, they were complaining that Rode stopped supporting the original one. So there's a couple of reasons for that. One is that Rode they own their own factory. Like their offices in Australia are connected to the factory that makes most of their stuff. They have a couple small products that are made overseas or in China. I was like, Australia is overseas, so overseas, yeah. And they have a couple of things that are made in China, but all their big stuff, their Rodecasters, all the like the premium things, most of their microphones are made in their own factories in Australia. And they're big factories. They're very legit. Like it's not a small mom and pop operation, but creating manufacturing lines for multiple products, changing things takes a lot of time, a lot of money, a lot of resources. So like it made no sense for them to produce this old Rodecaster and this new Rodecaster when it's like we could discontinue this one, focus on the new one, especially because the old one was maxed out. Some people who bought theirs close to the end of its life were like, what? They don't update it anymore? But if you're like me and you bought it on launch day, it got like a dozen major firmware updates, and they maxed the last kind of beta update they had. In the beta update, they had a reverb feature, which was just like a filter, like to add reverb to your audio, nothing crazy. And then it was removed in the official release. And my understanding is the reason it was removed was because like that was kind of like adding reverb was the thing that sort of like pushed the internal processing powers over the edge, and the thing stopped. So the fact that that's what they hit, like it couldn't add reverb. Then you look at the Rodecaster Pro 2 and the Duo, and it's like now we're throwing in video capabilities, we're throwing in all this crazy custom mixing, virtual channels, all this stuff, and there's still room to go. There's still power to use. Like what else are you gonna add to that? The internal amps are good, the preamps are good. Like most of the complaints people have are things that I think can be addressed through firmware updates, currently at least. The Rodecaster Pro 2 is a Linux computer, so it should be around for a while, hopefully. Yeah, 4K switching. This is the other thing. There is like an embarrassment of riches when it comes to 1080 switchers that are just ultra high quality. And 1080, again, what you're looking at right now is 1080. Can look amazing. Like, again, the example I always use is that like our doorbell is a 4K camera. If I had a live feed from the doorbell to this, like this is going to look better than the 4K doorbell, even though this is 1080 and that's 4K. And here's even a better literal example right now. This camera on the 3D printer is 1080. The camera you're looking at me on is 1080. These do not look like the same quality of 1080. It's cool that the printer has its own built-in 1080 camera, but like, it's not the best looking camera in the world or anything. It's a camera built inside a 3D printer. Like it's, yeah. So anyway, all that to say, 1080 switchers obviously still have a place. And 4K is significantly more complicated and resource intensive than I think a lot of people realize, especially if you want to go beyond basic switching and you want to build scenes and overlays and picture and all that kind of stuff. It is very complex, and that's why it tends to be expensive or impractical. And a lot of switchers, a lot of, like the person like me who's in their home YouTube studio and wants highest quality possible is different from a lot of people that actually use these switchers, which are events and corporate things and situations where not only is 1080 okay, but there's the client, the event, the whatever, doesn't even have the capability of handling 4K. So it's not even an issue. But it's 2026. So like several years ago, I was like, yeah, it's okay that things aren't 4K. 2026, I'm like, we need more 4K options. And that's why I'm really, really glad that the YOLO Box Extreme exists. There are a few other like 4K switchers and sort of like asterisks and question marks. The YOLO Box Extreme is the only legit 4K switcher that I know of that's also not thousands and thousands of dollars. It's $2,000. It's not cheap. But you have eight HDMI inputs on that, and 5 of them are 4K capable, up to 4K 60. So that's really good. And then it's legit, like you have 5 4K sources that you can switch between, record, add graphics to, build scenes, do the whole thing. I use mine all the time for videos. If I want to just do multicam recording while recording a video, use it for streams, and that is legit 4K switching. That is like the only actual option I would recommend right now. Yeah, maybe the Rodecaster 3 would have that'd be a Rodecaster video, right? And yeah, the physical faders are, I'm very curious because what Rode has said is that the Rodecaster Core, when you connect it to the Rodecaster Pro, the smart pads become the controls for it, which is cool. But I'm wondering if you can assign some of the faders to some of the controls, or at least some of the audio, because it still has the XLR inputs. So I'm curious how those are going to work. It'd be really cool to add, like, I don't know, more physical controls to a Rodecaster video type device. Try to see what we can do on the server, perhaps showcase something. Yeah, the server's for fun. The server's for fun. It's open to everyone. It's free. It's not a sales funnel. It's not a money-making thing. It's not a membership thing. It's a let's just hang out and have fun kind of thing. Yeah. Yeah, Rode's price increase could be increase in production costs, increase in components. I don't know how much RAM these things have, but maybe that's why. It could be. Streamer X. Yeah, the Streamer X was interesting because it is a 4K capture card, and so I think a lot of people like Rode put that out and they were like, oh, when they do a video switcher, it's going to be 4K, myself included. I followed that logic, and then their switchers are all 1080, and I was like, what? But the Streamer X is a single input capture card, and that's it. It doesn't add graphics, it doesn't mix sources, it doesn't do anything like that. It's audio video capture card, and that's it. So it can do 4K, but I want multi 4K. Does the Osmo Pocket work with the Rodecaster Video? No, but in my community section on Discord, I actually did recently just post a list of cameras I've tested with it. Compatible webcams? No, it's not compatible for me, at least with current firmware. The compatible webcams I have that I've tested with the Rodecaster Video are the YOLO cams, both the S3 and the S7, so the small YOLO cam and the big YOLO cam, the OBSBot Tail 2, and the OBSBot Tiny 2, which is very weird because the OBSBot Tiny 3, Tiny 3 Lite, Tiny 2 Lite, Tail Air, and Meet 2 are not compatible. So even within a single brand, there's not guaranteed compatibility. Now, the Tiny 3 and Tiny 3 Lite are both very new, so maybe in a firmware update for the Rodecaster, or even a firmware update for the cameras, I don't know, maybe they'll become compatible. Currently, they are not, which was a bit of a bummer. So, and the DJI Osmo Pocket 3, which I actually have mine right here that I've been meaning to make a video on for like a year and just haven't. This is such a cool camera. It can be a USB webcam, but not through the Rodecaster Video. And obviously, any camera that you can get connected through HDMI will work on the Rodecaster Video, the videos. exactly the thought I had about the Rodecaster Video S. Price increased 80% to make room for $499 Rodecaster Video Core to come under the price. Hopefully that's not the case. What's up, Cole? Nice to see you. How much does the printer cost? My printer itself, well, here, I'll show you. This is a live stream, and I have a thingy set up. What is it? A scene. Brain not working all the time. So mine is the Bamboo P2S. Go to the store. Oh yeah, here's the H2C. That's the one that they had offered, which is very fun. P2S. So the printer itself is $549, which is an insane deal for what this printer can do. But the one I got was actually the $799 one. Because it comes with the AMS. So the combo, it comes with the thing up here, which lets you load 4 rolls of filament. It can dry these. You can do multicolor printing really easily. So I got this one. It was $800. And when I bought mine, I actually bought it on wherever it is. The thing where I just split it into 4 payments to make it even like simpler. So that's the one I got. There is, though, I think the P2S is a worthwhile upgrade over the P1S, but the P1S, in terms of print quality, is every bit as capable. It's more like the interface and some like technical quality of life things. This one for $639, so $160-ish less, you can get the combo with the printer and the AMS, but the printer's not quite as advanced as the P2S is. And if you just want this printer by itself, it's $400, which is ridiculous because my Prusa mini printer that I did in the comparison video, when I bought that, it was $349. So for $50 more, you get a ridiculously more capable printer, and that is awesome. So it's crazy how far that stuff has come over the years. If you get an H2C, I can cut it. Wait, can it? I need more info about this. Rodecaster video is great, but when I plug in the SM7B, random pops. Okay. I had a similar issue at one point with a couple different mics. I had that issue with one firmware on the Rodecaster Pro a while ago, and then it was fixed in a firmware update. I also had that same issue with the DJI Mic Mini randomly, and then that was fixed in a firmware update as well. The Rodecaster Video, I haven't experienced that with it, but it's not supposed to do that. It's not supposed to. Make sure you're on the most recent firmware. If you're not, update and see if it goes away. If you are on the most recent firmware and you are having that problem, reach out to Rode support, because that's the type of problem that they genuinely like to dig into and figure out. If you can send them a sample of what it sounds like, even better. And if you can give them any info on, like, does it occur at a regular interval? Like, is it every minute or is it just kind of random? That helps too. And then the other thing too, I guess, maybe before reaching out to Rode, is try it with like a different XLR cable, see if your cable's getting some kind of interference. And not, if you can, don't just switch to a different cable of the exact same kind, like switch to a different brand XLR cable or something and see if that works. 200 square feet, I could get, you could, here you go, I could. Using a cheap LED studio light as a night lamp also doubles as a usual LED video light. Yes, let me tell you, I have a ton of Pavo tubes, and we don't get a lot of power outages here, thankfully, but the times we have power outages, like between those and like V-mount batteries and stuff, like easy, no problem at all over here. It is whoa. This is incredibly kind and necessary and much appreciated. Thank you. You do not have to do this, but I'll put that towards some cool stuff for the channel. I try to make sure when there's super chats that it goes into something for the channel, or 3D printing filament or something cool, so that way it goes right there. What are your camera settings right now without the key light on you? I'm doing 1080-30, and then I have my ISO set to 400. And my white balance is 4200, I believe. And then I also have a few adjustments in Ecamm, to pop the colors and stuff. But the EOS R looks great. I'm using my 35mm f2.0 lens on this camera. which I really like. So it's at f2 at ISO 400. The thing, I mean, it looks great. If I compare this, if I had one of my Sony cameras hooked up and I went back and forth, this is like so much more contrasty, which is not a bad thing, but you can really see the difference between 8-bit and 10-bit color between the EOS R and the Sony cameras, which basically just means, and I didn't understand it until I got my Sony cameras, and I was using this as my B camera with my A7S III and switching between them. And eventually, as I was getting more and more adept at using the Sony, I was like, wow, it's harder to match these. And what I was realizing, a lot of it was the color bit, 10-bit versus 8. It doesn't sound like much, because I was like, it's 2 more bits. Who cares? It turns out that's like actually millions and millions of colors. And what that basically means is, like, if you look at my wall right here, you see some shadows, right? But what this is, like, if you put this, a screenshot of this into Photoshop and you did the little color eyedropper and saw all the different colors, this isn't just blue. This is all kinds of shades of blue. And that goes for everything. Skin tones, items, whatever. You know, there's darker blues, there's lighter blues, there's cooler blues, warmer blues, baby blues, the whole thing. What color bit depth means is essentially like how much, instead of just, basically there's more, that blue color on the spectrum has more blue in it, more shades of blue. So that way the camera can pick up more and you kind of see more, and it sometimes translates into almost looking like more dynamic range in your image. And so just being used to that, and then whenever I see the EOS R, I just notice how contrasty it is, which is fun. Interesting to see you live. Yes, you can thank Matt Ruff for that. I love doing live streams. It's just so hard to fit them into the schedule. In an ideal world, what I would love to do is like a regular weekly stream that is just this time, this place. We jump in, we stream, we do our things. It just never works out, unfortunately. You're getting the P2S combo on Saturday? Yes. Have fun. Pocket 4 at NAB. Yeah, very curious about that, because this camera, like, there's very little I would want to change about this. So I'm happy with it. The only thing I've heard, like the complaint I've heard people have, which does not affect me as someone who lives in the desert most of the time, is that it's not weatherproof. And so if you live in a place that's really rainy and you're using it outside in the rain, it's a little funky. But that usually doesn't affect me, so there we go. My Rodecaster video wishlist is basically for it to make some sort of XML file during recording like the ISO does. It doesn't already... The YOLO box just added that, which is very cool. And I'm surprised I haven't looked in the most recent thing. That has to be on the roadmap. I know it's like one of the most requested features, and I think I just kind of assumed they already added it in. If they haven't, then they should. I noticed that you Safari, do you constantly have to re-sign into YouTube every time you open a studio? No, I don't. I don't know why I don't, but I haven't re-signed into YouTube Studio, and you know, I change my password every couple months, and that's when I re-sign in. But otherwise, I never have to re-sign in. I don't know. I don't know why. So there we go. You can buy the blade upgrade for the H2C and make it work like a Cricut. You can print on sticker paper and then cut. That's very cool. Drew, what's up? Popping in real quick to say hi before heading to work. Have a great day at work. I was actually just thinking about our meetup that we did, which was a while ago now, but we got to meet for lunch a while back, Drew, Heather, and I, and that was super fun. So I hope you have a great day at work. Sweet, Internet Doggo. I'm going to show that, your printer setup. Really want to start a podcast. I've been looking at cameras. What do you think about the Mevo cameras from Logitech, especially for multi-person? I haven't used them. My dog is barking in to chime in about his opinions on that. I know that the Mevos are very popular, but I haven't used them, so I can't say. I've been really exploring the OBSBot and YoloCam webcam ecosystems over the past year or so, and I've really enjoyed those. So that's kind of where I'm more familiar with. Let's jump into the server right now, though. Let's check on our print. Oh, it's done. I'll go grab that, and in a second we'll see the quality in person. Let's jump into the server, though, and check out this printer setup. So if we go into share your setup, oh, this is like legit. Dang. Okay. Is this the H2C over here? Because there's a big size difference happening. And then we've got 4 AMS units, and 8,000 rolls of filament. And you have pro level ventilation happening. I actually did just get an air purifier, as someone who mainly prints PLA, I just added that. I'm curious about storing filament. So currently my filament is all in I got those vacuum sealed bags, but I don't always vacuum seal them because I swap filament in and out. So I have 8 rolls in the AMSs, and then everything else is kind of stored in that. Do they need to be in the bags? When do they need to be in the bags? When does it not need to be in the bags, I guess is my question. And also, thank you for helping out with the server and everything, Zeke. I appreciate you. Let me go grab that print, and let's go check the quality here. Heather, I don't know what you're eating out there, but it smells really good. All right, so see, just took the build plate here. This is just PLA, so it should be super easy. Just bend the build plate, and then the prints pop right off. Nice. Now, these are covers. I told you I was doing the microphone arm print, so these are the covers that go here, kind of like the Elgato low profile. I wanted to do a two-tone situation, which is very cool. And the reason I wanted to print on that build plate here was you can kind of see, or maybe you can kind of see. So this I did in ABS, actual parts in the mic arm that I played around, put some magnets in there because there's little holes on here to put some small magnets, and that way, just like the actual Elgato arm, it will magnetically go there. I printed the arm components in ABS, which is like very, very strong plastic. But I was using that other build plate, the blue one, and I don't know if I can... come on. Oh, is this what the beauty influencers have to do? They have to put a hand here. I don't know if you can see. I don't know if you can see the. There you go. You can kind of see the texture from that build plate. I don't like it. It's not my favorite. Whereas the texture from the standard bamboo build plate. Please get out of frame. Nothing. Maybe you can kind of see. I don't know. It's a really nice uniform. It does not look 3D printed. The first time I ever saw a print from a build plate like this, I was like, there's no way that's 3D printed. That's like real plastic. And since this is going to be on a part that's very visible and exposed, I wanted to make sure that it looked nice. So that's why I printed these covers. There's a lower arm. Anyway, I'm going to do a whole video about if I can actually build this thing, how well does it work, and how does it compare to an actual real mic arm like the Elgato. But I had to print actually I still have a couple more things to print, like 12 or more build plates of stuff. And I also want to add up the cost, like how much time did it take to make all that? So far, I think I'm at roughly 20 hours of printing for this arm. And how much did it cost? How much does the filament cost? Obviously it's going to be cheaper than the real arm. It's probably going to be, I don't know, $6 of filament total. Versus 100 for the Elgato arm. Let's see here. Hey, what's up? I'm gonna talk some mo. What's up, audio hotline? Not the last stream I did, but the one before that. Bronson was here in person because we had just gone to a Blink-182 concert. Which actually, it's fun that you're here because I have this Blink-182 metal display thing up here. That was a Christmas gift from Bronson, so thank you for that. Appreciate that. And I should show, oh my gosh, I should show you my my newly painted goalie mask. I should actually go get that because it's awesome and it's really cool. You live in a desert, so I don't think you need to worry about the filament getting too humid, so you probably don't need the vacuum bags. Yeah, it's definitely dry. It's super dry here. Yeah, the bags are fine. It's not like they're inconvenient, but it's just nice to grab a roll and put it in and be done. We don't have the Heather food cam up today. It's yeah. I'm gonna go grab my goalie helmet because I kind of want to show you a few things. actually, this is a super cool story. So, I can 100% relate it to community and YouTube and everything. So I have 2 painted goalie masks because I started playing hockey 3 years ago. I play goalie, and so yeah, maybe like 4, almost 5 years ago, I got a message from somebody on Instagram just asking about lights, and so we talked about lights. Here's some studio lights. There we go. That was kind of it. Super nice, fun conversation. That's all it was about. Then I got into hockey, started posting some hockey stuff. You kind of see hockey-related merch show up in the backgrounds. It sort of became a part of my life, my world, my videos over the past few years. And then that same person reached out and he's like, hey, I don't know if you remember, we talked about video lights, but I'm actually like a designer who designs goalie masks, like custom goalie masks. And like, I'd love to help you design one. And then, he works with a painter who paints it. And I was like, oh, that'd be cool. So they helped me design a mask a couple of years ago. Because when you buy your mask, it's just plain white. And so I sent him so many insane things on like a Google Docs folder that was just filled with like reference images and ideas. And he went through like 7 different revisions before I got my first mask, which this is all airbrushed. So it's done through a company called Vice Design. They have a website, Instagram. Alan, who's the painter, Corbin is the designer. Thank you, Corbin. I love your designs very much, and I appreciate your patience with me. And then Alan, who's the painter, is incredibly talented. And so my original mask that I got done is just super bright. And when you're on an ice rink and the lights are there and the reflective of the ice, it really pops. So I went with crazy bright colors. We've got palm trees for the desert. We've got 90s, 80s style designs everywhere. We got Aquabats logo on the side. We've got all kinds of stuff like these are my initials, but they're in the shape of the old shields that used to be on like bass drum heads back in like the 50s and 60s. It used to be really common. We've got audio waveforms. It's very hard to see, but there are like very light, kind of ghosty, like start, stop, play, rewind, like playback control buttons. There's a Fender P-Bass headstock. There's a Firebirds logo, which is our local pro hockey team. And just all kinds of stuff. Like at the top, you got all the like start, stop, play things, which is very, very cool. And then my number, which is 85 on the front. So I've had this mask for a couple of years. I had a mask. It takes a long time to paint masks. So I bought a mask. I actually bought this, which was just a white mask. And I wanted to get it painted. And he's like, yeah, it might take a couple of months. And so I was like, crap. And it just happened to be a time of year where a mask was on sale. These are not cheap because these are Bauer 960s. So these are the exact same masks that a lot of like NHL goalies wear. So if they can stand up to that level of shots and roughness, I want to protect my head and my brain and stuff. But they're not cheap. They're like $1,000 for the mask. But it's your brain. You get one. So there was a sale where one went on sale. So I was like, okay, I'm going to get a second one and I will send that one in to be painted because I can't be without a mask for 2 months because that means I couldn't play for 2 months. So anyway, that was this one. I bought a second one, sent it in, came back, painted. And then I just had my other mask for a long time. And after, and it's been, I don't know, a year and a half, 2 years, I was like, you guys want to, can I, commission another design? And so we went through some more designs. We came with this amazing design, but the problem was, not the problem, it's a very good thing, is Alan, the painter, he's very, very good. And he got crazy popular. So not only did he get popular because he was doing like a lot of college and like pro, semi-pro masks. And then he got commissioned by like a ton of AHL goalies, which is like the league right below the NHL. I don't know if he's done any NHL masks. He's done like half of the masks in the PWHL, which is the Professional Women's Hockey League. Tons of colleges. I'm not sure about European leagues, but he has several masks that are in the Olympics right now. So busy with people who like kind of run on a bit more of an important timeline than I do. And then because of all the weirdness with shipping and tariffs and stuff, basically I submitted my thing like, hey, yeah, let's do this like late spring last year. And it was like, cool, we'll do that. Except all the shipments of masks basically got held up. So he got not only delayed, but things got pushed back. We got inundated with like 70 masks, 60 masks. I don't know, an insane warehouse stock of masks that need to be painted, and just tried to get through. So me being just, recreational adult league, it took a while to get my design back, but it's the coolest. So this one, I wanted to go blue instead of a lighter mask. So I wanted to have like darker, but not dark. So it's bright. But continuing, this happened because Bronson showed up and I talked about the Blink-182 thing. So I have the Aquabats over here, which Travis Barker used to be their drummer. And then this one I went with, which I just love this design, the Blink-182 smiley face on the side here. And this mask, I went nuts. There's some binary digits here that just mean personal things to me. There are like ghosty Aquabats icons. There's the Final Fantasy 14 MSQ icon. There's still the play, pause, rewind thing. The side over here has big play button. We got audio. I play on multiple teams, so I'm not always the same number, so I didn't put my number on this one. There's a semi-bot from the video game Repo, which I actually drew this based on game art. There's Fuego, mascot for the Firebirds, right there. Then in the back, we have Hildebrand for Final Fantasy 14. We've got my name in the black mage icon for 14 because that's my main class. P-base headstock, bunch of other little things. This is like the coolest thing in the world. I love it so much. And I love it too. Like the play icon is cool because I was trying to figure out like, what do we want? I was almost even take the palm tree design and redo it over here. But the play icon is super cool because it's not just symbolic of like audio video production and like, YouTube, which changed my life and stuff. But it's like when you're playing hockey, it's a very competitive, emotional game, and literally remembering to play the game, have fun, is just an important reminder. So I kind of like having that right there all the time. So anyway, that's my new mask that I showed you because Bronson showed up, and then I was pointing out which is crazy because I sent that in and had the whole thing. He didn't know about that. I'm trying to find my other scene. And then he sent me that for Christmas, which is the same icon. And so when I was showing him like the design for my mask, he was like, very cool that you're probably going to like the thing I'm sending you then, which is very cool. What's up, Atlas? Thank you for helping me figure out the server and stuff. Appreciate it. And also helping me fix my computer. I'll never forget that. Let's see here. Matt's out of here. See you, Matt. Have a good day. Looking forward to NAB. Bought the P2S. Yes, it's so fun. It is so fun. Pure nerd love. Yeah, those are really probably, suffice it to say, I would say the nerdiest goalie masks in the world. But it's really fun to be able to like, express yourself that way. And it's really cool that it literally did start from YouTube. Like, I mean, I would have reached out to someone for like a vinyl wrap or tried to find a painter, but happening to stumble across an amazing painter / design team because of the YouTube channel, because we had a random conversation about video lighting 4 years ago, is cool. Hockey brain protection. Yeah, it is a fun thing to do. Teletape says, I got my first OBSBot Tail 2 Cyber Monday. Nice. Playing around with it since. What do you think of main camera on that nice glider he uses? What do you think of main camera on that? Oh, are you thinking of using the Tail 2 like on the slider, like the shark slider? That'd be cool. Actually, I'm having kind of a thought about that. So I have my slider right here. Let me grab it. And I don't even know if this is what you're talking about, so I could be going in a different direction. Here's my shark slider. It's a motorized slider. And what's cool about it is it doesn't just go back and forth, but the base here also rotates. And so what's really nice about that, I've done it in videos, I've done it on live streams, and it's pretty fun, is I'll set this up on my tripod, and you can set a start point and a stop point, and you just kind of move your camera, and then it will pan the camera like as it goes, so you stay centered in the frame, but the camera's moving. It creates a really cool effect. You see this in interviews and TV shows and stuff all the time, and it's really cool. So I don't know if you're saying like, hey, put the OBSBot Tail 2 on here and use that as your main camera. I would say do that if the Tail 2 is your highest quality camera, because you want your main camera to be your highest quality camera. if it's not your highest quality camera, I almost think it's a waste of the tail too, because this turns, this pans. So I can get that effect with any camera. You know, like put my Sony mirrorless cameras on here, and as long as I usually put them on a tripod head, but as long as they're on here, they can pan and move. So you wouldn't be taking advantage of the PTZ capability of the Tail 2. So putting a different camera on the slider and having it move, and then having the Tail 2 as another camera where you can control it with PTZ or have it track something or whatever, you'd probably just get more bang for your buck out of the functionality of it. That's my thought anyway. Use the Tail 2s in church streams. Love them besides color matching. Matching the Tail 2s to the Tail 2s should be decent. Matching them with other cameras is tough. They've added, I like that in OBSBot Center, they've updated their color adjustment options more. But I've actually been having an issue with my Tail 2, and this is something I asked in the server, because Matt, who just left, has one. He's the one that like convinced me that they're worth checking out. And I don't know what this is. You can actually see it in my video from last week about the Sony camcorder. I was using the Tail 2 the same way I always do, as kind of like a close-up product camera. And I just record to the internal SD card, and that's fine. It's set to either 4K 30, 4K 24, whatever I'm doing that video in at that time. And the quality, like not color quality, but like the image quality doesn't look great. And I actually have another video coming out that I did the same thing before I realized this was as much of an issue. It's very choppy. Like it looks like the frame rates are mismatched, but they aren't. Like it is set to the same as the cameras, and they are all set to the same as the project file in Final Cut was. And it's only been doing that since I updated it to the most recent firmware. So obviously it's connected to that. And my hope is that like there's just a firmware update to fix some bugs and then it goes away. But I don't know if anyone else has experienced that, or if there's something I'm overlooking or something to fix it. So if you know something, let me know. Otherwise, I'm just going to wait till a firmware update. And then if that doesn't happen, I'll probably just reach out to OBSBot and see what they do. So anyway, that's that. We're kind of caught up on chat. So I kind of think if anyone has any last questions, happy to answer those. And then of course, we did officially launch the Discord server. So thank you for everyone for being a part of that, for joining that. You do not have to join that. Please don't feel any need to join it if you don't want to. If you're not happy with things Discord is doing and you don't want to be a part of Discord, definitely don't do that. Like don't do things you don't want to do. But if you do want to be a part of it, hang out in there. I hope it's like genuinely a fun place to hang out and chat and connect and just enjoy yourself is kind of the thing. My plan is to do some fun, casual, like just screen shares, streams, gameplay, so whatever, just hang out in there and have fun regularly. And that's open to everyone. I'll be sharing the link more and more in like video descriptions and stuff. And I definitely want to thank my wife, Heather, for putting it all together. And I want to thank Bailey, Matt, and Zeke for stepping up to be our inaugural moderators. That's hugely helpful. And I want to thank everyone else just for being kind of awesome and being here for that and everything. So that being said, I think that's it. I'll see you in the server. Hey, we don't have to, the stream doesn't really have to end. We just kind of move over there, right? Appreciate you being here. Appreciate everyone's super chats. I'll make sure that those go towards good things with the channel. I do have my 1-minute outro. So if you're in the chat and you want to say goodbye to anyone, feel free to do that, or just go into the Discord server and hang out over there. Thanks for being here. Thanks for everything. This was super fun. Hopefully it's not another several months before I stream again. Hopefully it's a little bit sooner. So hope you have a safe, happy, healthy, fun rest of your week. I'll see you next time.